Good afternoon. I keep wanting to do the good morning. It's good afternoon. For those of you west of me, though, it's good morning also still. So glad to be here. Pat Zemer with MagnaWave for our weekly office hours program that we bring to you to answer any questions that you may have. Questions about machines, questions about PEMF, training, treatment protocols, anything that you want to talk about with regards to PEMF. We're here to help answer those questions for you. So if you'd like to talk to me, you can send me a text. I'll put that number up in just a moment. If you would be so kind, please share this broadcast with your friends. That way they may be able to participate and with us and ask questions as well or have a conversation. Again, if you'd like to talk with me, send a text to 502-599-9722 and I will phone you back and we can have a conversation about whatever it is that you'd like to know more about with regard to PEMF or MagnaWave. So that's what this is all about, and we're glad to be here and to do that. I do have a question that came in the other day about someone that did a session on a person with neck pain. It extended down into their shoulder and the arm. They concentrated on the areas of pain at a medium setting. And they said that the client drank a lot of water the rest of the day, felt so much better. Then the next day, it came back worse, they said, than before, even to the point of nausea. And the client wants to come back and be treated again. Any suggestions? Well, the suggestion is to treat. If they got a good response and they were happy with what happened, then you just want to continue. You know, we always say treat as long as function continues to improve and then as often as necessary to maintain the function that you've achieved and been able to help. So why someone the next day doesn't mean that you got everything. Maybe there's obviously still something there that could aggravate them to the point of nausea. So you just want to stay with that. Now, with that said, if you treat a client like that today, they feel good today and then they're worse tomorrow, and they come back and you treat them and the same thing happens again, and you come back and you treat them and the same thing happens again, that they feel good for a period of time and then not as good, then there's a point that they need to certainly consider seeing their doctor, their chiropractor, or something like that. I always say that you're going to get a response and you typically ought to continue that response. Perhaps in this case, if you have someone like that, you could treat them in the morning and then come back, treat them later in the day to maybe get a longer result before the pain reoccurs. For whatever reason it's being caused. So that's the only thing you want to consider. If you treated them and the same problem persisted every time, then there's something to, as I said, talk to the doctor about. Okay, let's see. I do believe I had a call a little earlier, text a little earlier. Let's see if we can bring that up. We'll give Chloe a call and have a conversation. Let's see what question Chloe may have. Good morning, Chloe. Pat Zemer calling.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
You had a question.
Very good. Yes, I did. How do I explain it? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry, it kind of cut out right there for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I have this friend with a horse, and he's got blood clot in his deep flexor tendon.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering, can I MagnaWave that? And if so, like how long, how high, stuff like that? Well,
the first thing you want to do if it's a blood clot is to have the client or talk to the veterinarian to see if this is a clot that they're worried about moving. If you want to treat it and hopefully have it dissipate, if the veterinarian would think that would be a possibility, that would certainly be within the realm to have that type of conversation. If it's a clot that's been there and it's going to stay there, which sometimes is the case, but it's causing irritation and you want to treat around it, I would treat moderately, 5 to 10 minutes per session, and to treat it and around it to help relieve the pain. But again, you need to confer with the veterinarian to make sure that there's not some worry that it could throw the clot and then cause another problem.
Okay. All right. I will have him ask.
Yeah.
I think they go. Yes, I will have him ask. And then just do it for like 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes on a moderate setting. You could do it a day, each day, until you get the relief that you want, or until everybody's content with what's going on. But again, before you do that, be sure to check with the veterinarian.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Great question, dealing with blood clots. And again, that's just something that you don't mess around with, whether it's an animal or a person. You want to make sure that everything is safe and what you're doing is accepted and understood by the doctor and the client, the person that you're dealing with regard to their animals. So great question, though, and I hope that was helpful. If you have any other questions, just give me a shout. Let me check in the comment box here. There are several comments. Sandy's with us. Maureen's with us. Good morning. Bridget's with us this morning. Lori is with us. Can the nausea be because of the better metabolism due perhaps to the medication that's in their system? I found that to happen. Let me see, I lost it. I found that to happen with a few back clients. That's a good question. I mean, could the nausea be a result of the medication? I suppose sometimes the best thing to do, because you understand we're going to improve the metabolism. So what we like to do, unless the doc says, I want to improve the metabolism of this particular medication, what you typically would do is administer the medication. The person or the animal would take the medication, give it some time for the medication to be absorbed and to metabolize into the body, and then treat. And the same thing on a person. If they're just taking a medication, you want to make sure the medication is in the body, in place, that we're not going to enhance the medication metabolism more than what it should be, in other words. And so that's something certainly to watch, and that could be a good situation. So you want to make sure, if you're going to treat this is going back to the client that we were talking about with the neck and back, I presume. And so there again, if they are on medication, you want to make sure that the medication is metabolized into the body, and then provide your treatments. Again, because this does improve the metabolization of any medication that someone might be taking. You know, that's been the case when people have talked about someone who has chemotherapy or is on chemotherapy, and should you treat or should you not treat? Well, it's certainly up to the client, up to the doctor and the client. But what can happen is sometimes people become a little ill when they're having chemotherapy, and we don't want to enhance that illness or that ill feeling that they receive by taking the chemotherapy. And so by receiving chemotherapy, so what we quite often do is they go through the chemotherapy regimen, and then we treat when it's finished, metabolized out of the body, and then you can come treat without making them ill or feel more ill than they would normally feel in those types of situations. Good question, Lori, and that could certainly be the case. I'd certainly talk to them about it, maybe check with the doc. Aaron's with us. Good afternoon. Sophia is with us. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? So if you have a question, just place it in the chat box, and I'd be happy to answer your question at that time. Let me see if we have any more texts over here. Well, we do have a couple more texts. Let's see. Let's go here and ring them up. One ring-a-ding, two ring-a-ding.
Hello.
Hello, Pat Zemer here with MagnaWave.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. You have a question?
I did not. I don't know if I butt texted it.
Oh, well, you wrote a message. No problem. We'll get back. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye. Local equine vet sent a message. I'll take a look at that. Let's check the other call that I will. That's from last week. Okay. Nothing there. If you have a question, simply post it in the chat box. I'd be happy to take a look at it. Or if you would like to visit, send me a text to 502-599-9722, and we will call you back and get your questions answered. Here's the question that was just texted to me. I worked on a local equine vet who has tons of back issues. She told one of her friends that it caused her severe pain. It felt like undid her surgeries. She hasn't reached out to her. We actually covered this question last week. She was going to reach back out to her. Quite often, if someone has a situation and they treat it and they feel a little better and then it has a chance to return, they may be more uncomfortable. Or they may be in a situation that I've experienced this. I've seen this with people and with animals, that they treat themselves and they feel so much better that they go do more and they re-irritate themselves sooner than they should, and then it comes back with a vengeance. And so there again, you want to treat cautiously, treat calmly at first, and then build and go from there. But always need to take a look and see what is going on. And sometimes you bring something to the surface. If someone's having a problem and you treat them, and it's going to surface anyway, you know, our animals, you treat them or they're having a problem, they don't tell you until the problem takes over, because they can't tell you. They're fine today and tomorrow they can't walk. And so you have that type of situation that if you treat them and they've got something going on that's going to surface in a week just by virtue of the natural progression of things, it is conceivable that you would do a treatment and it could surface, the issue could surface more rapidly. And that could be the case in many different types of situations. Okay. Oh, here we go. Question: will HydroWave aid only hair regrowth in a now closed world? Let's see. Precisely was open, but used MagnaWave, cold laser, and HydroWave. Okay, I'm trying to get this figured out here. Will HydroWave aid only with hair regrowth in a now closed wound? I got you. Okay, closed wound, wanting to get hair to come back, will HydroWave be of benefit to that? It could be of benefit to put it on the area to keep it clean, keep it healthy, so it can better produce what it needs to do. If it's scar tissue now, if the wound is closed and it's more like scar tissue, then that's a tougher situation with regard to hair growth. Another suggestion may be C60. C60 has been used on the scalp and in various places, and people have had hair regeneration on their scalp. So you might take some C60 and put it on the open wound itself to help the area with the elements of the C60, and that could help with the hair growth. The HydroWave could certainly be of benefit, and then certainly be treating with the MagnaWave at the same time. Let's see here, got another one. Here we go. Can you tell us about HydroWave, need for good hydration, and how hydro is a good choice? Shelf life of concentrate, shelf life to mixed solutions. Let's get them on the phone here and see what we got going on.
Hello?
Yes, Pat Zemer with MagnaWave.
Hey, I guess I'm watching a little bit delayed.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about HydroWave.
Okay.
And things like shelf life of the concentrate itself, shelf life of the product once it gets mixed.
Okay.
And just give us some general background, and that would be great. And I will listen in.
Okay, sounds great. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, HydroWave, shelf life in concentrated form, Bill tells me several years. He's had it for 5 and 6 years on the shelf with no issues at all as far as breakdown or not being HydroWave. Once it's concentrated, pretty much the same thing. The fact that the oxygen in the water is bound to the silver molecules, it may not be as long as the concentrate, but I would certainly think easily months, 6 months, 7 months, year, whatever the situation may be. I know that I have some that is in the spray form that I have used, and it's been in the bottle for a year or so, and I only use it when there's a reason to have it with an open wound or something like that, and the results are the same each time. So the manufacturer tells me that years on the concentrate, and also years on the same if you mix it down, but certainly you are mixing it with a different substance, and so you could have some certainly you're weakening the strength a little bit. That's why we do it 50-50 on a for as a topical for wounds, you really don't need any more than that. And it just prolongs the use of your product. And same thing if you're using it for an eye condition or something like that. So shelf life is not an issue, and there is no direct shelf life on the bottles, and he tells me that it's just lasts a long time. I hope that helps with regard to that. And again, why we break it down. We've just found if you're going to dilute it 50-50, for example, for open wounds or for eye usage or something like that, the result is there even when it's diluted. And so there's no reason to use it full strength. I do know some people in the cattle world, when they're dealing a lot with pink eye, they do use it full strength in a spray form, and you get very pleasant results that they're looking for, fighting the pink eye and clearing things up. So it's not that you can't use it full strength, you just don't need to in many different cases. That's why the typical dosage, if someone is taking it for themselves for the general well-being, is they mix 4 ounces of HydroWave into a gallon of purified water, and then they drink that 2 glasses a day, which will last them about 15-16 days. I believe it's 4 ounces a day, twice a day, and the shelf and the life is very good, and it works very well. So in a diluted state, it's still very potent and will do its job, but you can use it a little thicker. Bill talks about, again, the manufacturer, the developer of the product, talks about jump starting. He'll do that if someone is using it instead of they'll maybe do an ounce of HydroWave and a couple ounces of water, or an ounce of HydroWave and 16 ounces of water, and drink that through the period of the day to get more into the body. If someone's having an infection or having a bacterial infection in their situation in their body that they want to deal with, is a way to do it with the HydroWave in that fashion. But typically over the years, great results have been experienced when someone personally uses it 4 ounces to a gallon of water and drinks 2 glasses a day of that. And so again, the shelf life is there, it will last, and you can use it as you wish. A lot of people will take a capful and put it in their dog's water or their cat's water a day, and just put it in their capful into a bowl of water and let them consume it, and it's good for them as well. It helps out a lot in those types of situations. Let's see, here's a question. Did C60 can do? Okay, Bridget writes about the C60. Lori has a question. I have a question about a horse that seems to have tics, involuntary small head jerks. I treated the head, neck, jowl, and then went right to the jaw, to the right jaw, and the head shook involuntarily, uncontrollably. I turned down the intensity immediately, wasn't very strong anyhow, but I feel that I definitely found the source. Any suggestions? Well, the suggestion would be to, again, yeah, right, you don't want it too high to where it's just uncomfortable, where someone's jiggling or the head's shaking like that with a tic type of situation, but that is probably a neurological nerve type of condition. So certainly treat the area. To treat the head, the neck, the shoulders would be good there. And then if you find the spot in the jaw area where it's causing it to go, treat that very moderately. And so the animal is certainly comfortable, and you're not causing any problems with that. Or certainly the main thing is to help keep the animal comfortable. And that would be the suggestion that I would have. Is it seems like me you're on course, and the fact that you got that movement and that the head was shaking in that type situation does not mean that it was painful, does not mean that it was bad. It just means, as you said, you've pretty much found the spot or the condition. It could be a TMJ related type of issue that's causing the animal to do that. So to treat the area and to deal with it. Now, again, as I've said earlier, if you go there today and you get that type of movement, and you go there tomorrow and you get the same thing, and the next day you get the same thing, there's a point to where you want to, again, talk to the veterinarian about or the dentist about what could be causing the TMJ, or what could be causing the problem in the head and the jaw area, and have them take a look at it. Because you should typically, you're going to get a result, and you're going to find some comfort to the result and the result that you're looking for, and then you want to continue that to extend the length of time that you have the good feeling or the good results. So that's what you always want to look at in those types of situations. But it sounds like you found the area, and I've certainly experienced that myself when treating horses, and you find the spot. There is certainly movement, and you want to work the area around it, and as you said, the head, neck, and shoulders. Great thoughts, and I hope that helps. John Stevens says, hey John, how are you? Update on the CE question that I'm sure John has is they have received a date for now a virtual inspection of the factory, not an in-person inspection, but a virtual inspection, I guess, via camera and so forth, that is scheduled and hopefully will take place shortly. I don't have the exact date. I was just told by Michael that it is scheduled and they're going to hopefully complete that very soon. So that's an update for John on the CE question. And let's see if there's anything else. Let me just kind of, what's the reason for waiting 10 days after EPM treatment? We talk about treating after the EPM, and let me, because this has changed over the last couple of years. Typically, what had happened in the beginning, when I was first traveling the country treating, and I'd get a trainer who would call me and say, I got this horse with real bad back pain and so on forth, please come treat it. So I would go and I'd treat the horse, and the next day the horse was worse. And we thought, gee, what's the problem? And then doc came out and they said, well, the horse has got EPM. And so we learned quickly that if you're going to treat a horse with EPM, you want to treat them continually. You want to treat them as often as you can, and as the situation improves after the medication. So the protocol was years ago at the beginning, and this was after talking with veterinarians. They want to give the medication, they want to give it a chance to work, then come back and treat for the relief, to relieve the pain and to help things get more back to normal. Now, in EPM cases, quite often you need to continue treatment. It's just the parasites are there, the remains are there, they don't go away necessarily, and it's always causing some issues. So you may just need to continually treat. But as your question is, why wait 10 days after an EPM treatment? That was just, and I don't remember ever, maybe we did. I got to go back and look at notes and things, talking about how many days to wait after the treatment. Typically, we waited for the treatment to be completed. And then you might wait a day or two just to get everything through the body and let it assimilate and metabolize and do all of that, and then come back and treat. Some veterinarians today are now talking about during the treatment process, during the treatment from Marquis or whatever they're using, they go ahead and treat at the same time to enhance the medication. And so it's just a purpose of doing it. So if you have a horse with EPM, as I said, in the past, we waited for the treatments to be over, and then you can't treat them just one time. If you treat them once, the next day, they're not going to really be a lot better. You just got to keep after it and continue to treat them. And as I said, it's not like you have to treat them every day. You might get down to where you treat them once a week. You might get down to where it's once every 2 weeks, but you want to treat them more than once. Because quite often in an EPM situation, because what you're doing is you're moving the parasite that's decaying, it attacks the nerve becomes inflamed, there's pain. You don't want to move it and then walk away, and now you got 2 spots of pain, or 2 places of irritation in the body on the nerves causing discomfort. So you want to stay after the treatment when you're doing that and just continue it. As I said, we've had some race horses that they would treat, the horse would be racing in a week and a half, and they would make sure to treat it 4 or 5 times before the race, and the horse did wonderfully, and they just learned that they had to just continue to do that before the race. 2 or 3 days before the race, they'd treat 2 or 3 times, get the horse into the race, then let him recover, come back, and then go through the same routine, because the problem causing elements of the EPM that's gone, it's no longer spreading or getting any worse, are gone, but what was there causing the problem can remain, and so you may have to just treat continually more often. In some cases, though, you go through the medication, you treat the horse, let's just say you get on a regimen, you treat them 4 or 5 days in a row, and then you treat them twice a week for a couple of weeks, and bingo, symptoms are better, the horse is performing the way you want it to perform, and you can go along in that type of procedure. So there is currently no real reason to wait 10 days after the medication. And as I said, in some cases, the doctors like to treat during the application of the medication. So it's just best to check that with the veterinarian that is dealing with the horse and the EPM condition. Hope that helps. Let's see if there's anything else. Let me come back here and make sure that I've got everything thus far. Okay, new comments on the bottom. Let's see. John says, hey, Pat, do you swap machines? Could I send my semi back and get money off a higher power machine? John, you can certainly work something out. I would contact Cameron in the sales department. He can put you with, or if you have a representative that you were dealing with, happy to work with you on that. There are ways to do that. Some people sell their machine. It's kind of like a car. I mean, you understand, some people sell their own car to get a little more money out of it instead of trading it in. But there are some options that are available to you there. Many people today are upgrading their machines and keeping their second machine as rental machines, that they can send the machine home with someone to use for a period of time, whatever may work. But surely contact the office, and I believe it's 833 MagnaWave. Is that correct, Chris? 833 MagnaWave. That's it. 833 MagnaWave, and visit with the office, and they'd be happy to help you in any way they can. All right. Hope that helps, John. Oh, and John says he wasn't even going to ask about the CE. LOL. Well, you don't have to. I see your name, John. I know I want to bring you up to date and help you out there. A lady with L4 trapped nerve, leaving machine with her for 2 weeks, 0 minutes. 2 times a day sound good. Not 0 minutes. You want to run probably 10 minutes, two times a day sound good. Yes, it does. And leaving the machine with her for 2 weeks would be a great idea. Actually, she could probably do 20 minutes a couple of times a day, as long as she waits 4 to 5 hours in between. That would be beneficial. Good idea, and a good use of the equipment as well. Hope that helps out. 20 minutes. There you go. 20 minutes. There you go. 20 minutes, 2 times a day would be great on somebody in that type of situation. All right. If you have any other questions, simply put them in the chat box. I'd be happy to have a look at them. Let's see. Hazel's listening on Castbox this morning. Let's make sure there's no more texts that have come in. Let me go back here. Nope, that looks like all of them thus far. 502-599-9722, and I will give you a call back, and we can have a conversation about anything that you might want to discuss with regard to the machines. The channel, a little news here, the TV channel that's on Roku and Fire TV. I understand that the Roku is going. I'm not sure about Fire TV at this point. We've been loading some content into the area so you can watch MagnaWave information, and I've got several different categories. I've got a category for the brain, integrative medicine, small animals, livestock, horses. So we have categories, and we're putting videos in each one of those categories, so you can go to your Roku, look for biohacking wellness, and it's biohacking wellness TV, and you'll find it, and then you'll be able to see the programs that we have available that you can watch on your home TV. That's biohacking wellness TV on your Roku device or your Apple Fire device. Will soon have it available on 2 different apps for Android and iPhones that you can watch Biohacking Wellness TV on your phones as well. So that's kind of interesting. Check that out. And I've got a question here that's coming up. Also, I'll get back to this in a minute. Let's have a look at our question. I've been contacted by someone wanting in MagnaWave ASAP for her elderly mother with diabetes, neuropathy in her legs, feet, as well as blockages that restrict blood vessels. What do you think about treating high or low setting, etc.? Well, the first thing you said when you talked about an elderly mother, I don't know what elderly is. I found out through COVID that if you're over 60, you're elderly, or whatever. It's kind of how they typified it, or classified it. But with that said, my experience over the years, I would say treating someone who's elderly, when I went to treat my wife's mother, who was in her upper 80s, I started very low, because it's such a new feeling to them. You don't want them to be uncomfortable. And so someone in that type of situation, an older woman or an older man that's never really experienced this, you don't want to put it on too high to begin with, or what you may think is low, but to them is high. So you want to start very low and treat short period of time, make sure they're comfortable, make sure they understand what they're feeling and what it can do. You know, it's unnerving to people that if you put this on their back or their belly and they feel their internal organs pulsing, and that can be a feeling that I've had people just really can't figure that out. And so you want to make sure that when you're dealing with someone, as you said, in an elderly state, to want to cautiously approach them, cautiously so they're comfortable and so they understand what you're doing. So that's the first thing that I would think about in that type of situation. Now, as far as high or low or setting, I would treat moderate. And they'll know once they're comfortable, but again, you don't have to beat it to death to make it work. You know, if you're treating an ankle, you're certainly going to turn it higher. If you're treating their feet and their ankles for the neuropathy, and you put their feet in the coil or on the paddle or on a mat, again, comfort is the key, but you could turn it up potentially as high as your device will go, whichever powered device you have, you could do that and it should be all right. And they should feel comfortable with it. If you're treating their back, then certainly, again, as we talk about a nice moderate setting, that they're comfortable, that they understand what you're doing. As you know, and I've shared with this a lot, I've had this problem more with men than I hit the microphone, with men than I have with women. But a man, you'll treat their back and they think, boy, that's great, turn it up. Well, you can overstimulate sometimes. It's like a deep tissue massage. You get a deep tissue hand massage, you're sore the next day, and then you feel wonderful. Well, we can do the same thing. You can turn the intensity to where someone will be sore, but then they'll feel better down the line. We don't need to do that. You want comfort is the ultimate key anytime you're treating someone that can talk to you about the comfort. And it's the same thing on an animal. You can look at the horse's eye or the dog's eye, and you can tell when it's too much. Their eye will intensify, their eye will glass or whatever. And so that's the situation that you want to deal with there. If you're treating an animal and you're getting a good amount of pulsing to where you may say, gee, that's got to be uncomfortable. Look at the eye. If they're comfortable and they're just sitting there and they're breathing well, it's not too high. But if they look like they could take your head off, then you might be a little high. And that's the thing to consider. Same thing when treating a person. You want to, what I do, if I'm treating a gentleman or even anyone, if I'm treating someone, they say, oh, that's great, I can take more, I stop. I even back it off in some cases. And because they're thinking that the pulsing that they're feeling, they want more of it because that's going to do more. You don't need to do that. The important thing is to get as much energy as you can into the body to help the body be in a position to better heal itself comfortably. That's the key. Comfort is the key, and that's all you got to pay attention to is if they're comfortable. So I would treat, and again, you can treat. I've had some what my doctor calls age-related neuropathy, and that's a hell of a thing to talk about, age-related neuropathy. I'm a young guy, and at least in my own mind, I'm a young guy. But at any rate, when I was having neuropathy issues in my feet, what I found, and when I would sleep at night and I would use the B2 machine, I would treat my lower legs, and that would help my feet and ankles because I'm treating a good area. I'm getting a lot of blood. That blood's going into the feet, coming back out and nourishing in that fashion. Sometimes I place my feet right on the pad and treat that way. So you are, whether you're treating anywhere on the leg, you are ultimately treating the whole body or the whole leg and foot area. So, and again, the thing to come back to is comfort. Diabetes, a lot of people that suffer from diabetes, they treat themselves, again, for comfort, for better blood flow, better blood oxygenation, which can help deal with you're not going to do anything there that's going to enhance the sugars or delete the sugars or whatever the situation may be that's causing you problems. And just a good overall oxygenation, blood flow enhancement for the body can be very beneficial to many different conditions that people experience. It's just bringing comfort and helping the body feel better to itself so it can better take care of itself or better utilize the medications that the person is taking for their benefit. And, that's kind of like the case with Parkinson's, and people take medications and they found that they can reduce their medications by using the MagnaWave on a continual basis in some of those types of situations. Dion, I hope that with the situation, comfort, and is the main thing, and treat as often as necessary that they feel good. Now, when you're dealing with neuropathy, when there's constrictions of the blood vessels and there's blood that's not getting to where it needs to be, you're not going to do it in one treatment. Unfortunately, we'd like to be the one trick machine to where you treat and bingo, it's over. But that's not the case in many cases. I've had that a couple of times where I've treated somebody one time and their condition has changed dramatically. Their horse's condition has changed dramatically, and they did not need follow-up treatments. That's wonderful. And ideally, that'd be great. If everything could be a one treatment situation, no problem. You'd have plenty of one single treatments that you'd be doing because people would be very happy. The challenge comes in when it does require multiple treatments, and so that's how I would approach that. Any other questions? Dion, thank you. Very helpful. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Simply put them in the chat box. I'd be happy to get with you. Send me a text, 502-599-9722, and I will phone you back. I'll be here for another 10 minutes or so. I got another meeting I need to go to here in a little bit. So if you do have a question, please put it up, and I will certainly get to it as quickly as I can. Oh, here's a question. How soon after a broken blood vessel in an eye can we use MagnaWave? The lady went to open a car door and the door hit her in the head. Also, would HydroWave help with that? FYI, she's a diabetic. Okay, a few elements in that particular question that we can deal with. Broken blood vessel in the eye, it goes back to the if it's broken and it's not spreading. Let's put it that way. It means it's not bleeding anymore and it's not spreading. Once the break is there, eyes and your mouth, as you know, inside your mouth and around your eyes are some of the fastest healing parts of the body. And so this, I would go right after it. If it's blown, if it's burst, and this was from an accident. I mean, she hit herself with the car door, hit herself in the eye, caused to have that. So you want to get that area healed. We're not dealing with something that's going on in the head that we don't know what it is, that the doctor's not sure what it is, but it's causing these kind of problems. There's reasons to question that. When should you treat? But when it's as a result of something that they did, I'm going to call it an accident, when they hit themselves, you would certainly be okay to begin treatment right away. HydroWave, certainly to spray a little HydroWave in the eye is going to just nourish with oxygen and the purity in the area there to help it be in a better state to continue to heal itself, would certainly be in place. And as you said, she is a diabetic. So I don't think if you're going to hold the coil up here in front of the face and treat the overall eye situation, that's going to cause a problem with the diabetic issue or anything like that. So that would be my direction there, would be to, as soon as things have stabilized. I mean, certainly she had the accident, had the problem. Next day, bingo. Later in that same day, bingo. When I get up and my back's bothering me, I frankly got a situation going on now that I got a text coming in. Let's have a look at that. But been having some back pain. My doc's kind of thinking it might be a kidney stone. And so I'm dealing with that. May have to have a CT scan to check that. But it kind of comes and goes. And, you know, right now it's there, and in a few hours it might be gone. The indication that something could be moving around, and we want to check it. But when I have the problem and I treat myself, it's there. I mean, it helps immediately. And as it did this morning, I got up. I've been having this problem for about a week, and got up last Tuesday morning and could hardly walk. That's why I wasn't on the program last week. It was just really bothering me. And I talked to the doctor, and he said, well, let's take this and try that and see how it does. Everything kind of calmed down. And here it is, Tuesday morning again. 1 week later, I get up this morning and bingo, there it was. And I'm thinking, my goodness, what's going on? So I call my doc, and they want me to come in for a urinalysis and maybe a CT. Hopefully it's just a strain of some sort, my sciatic, that I twisted and did something, and I keep re-aggravating it. But when I treat it, it's better. And that's what I did this morning, and it's better now. So that's a good thing. So that's the same kind of thing you consider when you're talking about the burst eye vessel, blood vessel in the eye, is certainly you go treat it right away. If it's actively progressing, though, again, if it's something that's moving through, you can see it. Oh, but the vessels are continuing to burst or continue. We don't want to do anything there because we want it to be stabilized before we go in and try to nourish the body and let it better heal itself at that point. That would be my recommendation in that type of situation. Okay. My daughter has kidney stones and gets relief from MagnaWave. Thank you, Hazel, for sharing that with us on Castbox. And so that, you got to just deal with it and until you can get it to where it's not going to do anything. If you got a stone that's too big to pass and they're trying to figure we're going to have to go in and use a laser or do something to break it up, the MagnaWave is not going to break it up. It's not that type of signal, but it can provide comfort if you got something going on in that type of area, as Hazel's just shared with us about her daughter with kidney stones. And, I never had a kidney stone, so I really don't know. It's a new phenomenon, and we're going to see how it goes. I'm a little troubled that it came back again today, like it did a week ago Tuesday, but it's nothing like it was a week ago Tuesday. So I got up this morning, I treated it, put a little heat on it, treated it again, and it's much better. I still feel it. There's still something in that area, low back, kidney area. It kind of radiates into the hip, but it's just something that, every time I get something like that, or I do something like that, in my elderly state, I really try to pay attention. For example, I'm approaching it today with a lower power machine. It's a high power device, but it's a machine that I've been testing and working with, and I'm treating it with that machine so I can compare it to the results that I would get from a Max or a Maya or whatever. And so it's just I'm my own best guinea pig. And I enjoy doing that. It just gives me some good basis for things to discuss and learn from. Okay. I have to use MagnaWave on my brother-in-law who has a bad kidney pains, and he's passed the stones twice now. So he uses it quite often when he gets those pains and it releases. Absolutely. And we're aware of that, and we've done that. I have a brother-in-law who has had a lot of kidney stones and a lot of kidney type of issues with that. And he's used the machine extensively. And in fact, when I had it last week and I called him, I thought this is different than anything I've experienced. And I call him Dr. Sam, and I asked him about what he experiences when he's had his kidney stones and what he did and how we use the device and so on. And so he put me back on, one of my clients put me back on track as to how maybe I want to pursue with myself. And that's what I've been doing. And if you have any thoughts on that, or if you experienced anything like that, like Hazel has experienced, because she's right, kidney stones cause inflammation. Certainly, it's a foreign object. It's in the area. It's got to pass. It's got to go somewhere. When it moves, it irritates, and they're not, they're not just smooth. They're got little prickly edges and all that kind of stuff. So any movement, it's kind of like the EPM in a horse. It's the parasite that attacks the nerve. And so if you're doing something with it, you don't want to move it so it goes to attack another spot on the nerve. We don't need two places that are sore. But that's kind of what you get with kidney stone. As it moves through the body, it can cause more irritation. Treating it as it's doing this helps keep things in better place, helps keep the inflammation down, pain down, healing process can be better affected in the body. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with the inflammation or with the kidney stone thing. Don't know. I'm going to go in and we're going to do, as I said, we're going to do a check and make sure that everything's okay. I'm hoping it's just I strained it doing something. I've been climbing on ladders and doing stuff around here that I'm probably not supposed to be doing, and sometimes you twist your back and you got to pay for it for a couple of weeks. We're just, I'm 30 in my mind, but I'm not 30 in my body any longer. So that's kind of the way it goes. If you have a question, please put it in the chat box. I'll take care of it. If you would like to send me a text, please do so. I will call you 12:45. We'll be here for a few more minutes. Let me see. Please share your experience using MagnaWave for prostate issues. Okay. I will do that. 5 years ago, I began having some, I guess you would say, prostate issues, being able to pass comfortably, being able to pass regularly, and so forth. And so I went to my doctor and my urologist, and he did a check, and he did the old physical check, and he didn't like what he felt. And he said, I want to do an ultrasound. And he did an ultrasound, and he didn't like what he saw. He said, I want to do an MRI. He did an MRI, and he didn't like at all what he saw. So he scheduled a biopsy. Now, from the time that he first touched me, if you will, and did the physical examination to the time of the biopsy was about 10 weeks. And what I began to do at that point was I treated myself twice a day. I was using the semi machine. At that point, I sometimes used the larger machines, but I had a semi with me, and so I treated myself twice a day. I started consuming HydroWave, basically an ounce or two in a 16-ounce bottle of water daily. To go along with it. I did some ozone. I did some, I've got a friend in the ozone business, and so I did some rectal ozone treatments 3 times a week, and that was my regimen. So I treated myself that way every day for the 10 weeks. And when they went in to do the biopsy, what was there was dead and ultimately benign, and so that was a good thing. But he's been watching me every 6 months ever since then. Now I am 71. All of my brothers have had prostate cancer and prostate surgery, and at a younger age than I. And so we feel like, and I have continually treated myself with just the MagnaWave since that time, 5 years ago. I go every 6 months for a checkup. And just this last, a month ago, I went for my checkup. He didn't like what they felt. My PSA had doubled. It was up to like 14 or 15. The discomfort was there. They didn't really feel anything, but they were not happy at all. So they put me on a medication, an antibiotic, and I began really making sure I treated myself every day. I did not do anything else. I do HydroWave on a daily basis anyway. So I continued my normal HydroWave regimen, and I treated myself every day. No ozone this time, and went back 6 weeks later, which was just last week. And the doctor said PSA was normal. Inflammation was gone. Everything felt fine. And so there's no reason to go in and do another ultrasound or anything at this point. He said whatever it was, we just went after it aggressively. And actually, he did ask me one question, what am I taking for allergies? Because I said I have some allergy issues. And I said I was taking Claritin D. And he said, stop the D. Just take Claritin. And we think that could have made a big difference in how everything kind of reversed and went back to normal. But again, that is my personal prostate story. We have countless people who have used the devices. They've had some inflammation in their prostate. They want to get it under control. They don't want to have surgery. They don't want to go on heavy medications. And they've been very pleased with those types of results. That they've received. So that's certainly the way I approached it, and many people have approached their prostate and good prostate health. And as I say, I continually now treat myself. I sleep with the B2 machine, and so one night I'll treat my hips and prostate. Another night I may treat my shoulders and lungs for good movement in the lungs. I'm really not having any neuropathy issues at all anymore. That's pretty much been under control now for, I'd say, a year. So I don't do my legs and too much anymore unless I have, sometimes you can sleep. What I love about it is sometimes you can sleep and you'll kind of waken and you've been laying in a certain fashion, and you're in my case it's my right knee, because that's the one where I tore up my my MCL and on my right knee, and that will begin to bother me, and I'll just slide that B2 pad down there under my knees, and bingo, in a few minutes it's comfort's there, pain's gone, and I'm able to sleep comfortably. So that's how I do it. I use the B2 machine, but I also just right over here on the couch I have a couple of machines that I use, and we use them regularly. We test with them and do a lot of different things, but I can continually treat my prostate, because I want to show that it will continue to help me, and I won't have the same thing that by hereditary that everybody in my family has experienced. So I hope that helps. With the prostate question and the story, I've shared that story a lot, but we've had a lot of folks that have had very good success with prostate issues and using MagnaWave for comfort and to keep inflammation down. Let's see, no other questions? Everything looks quiet. Let's see, any text? No other texts have come through for a phone call. So also coming out next week, my new book, Pillars of Success. I've got 2 books coming out in the next 2 weeks, actually, I believe. Pillars of Success with Jack Canfield. I wrote the book with Jack and participated in the book with Jack, and it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed working with Jack Canfield now on a couple of occasions, and I've really enjoyed that. So this will be the new book. It'll be available on Amazon and some of the bookstores starting on the 14th. Chris will probably put up a link to the book website that you can have a look at that and get my chapter downloaded so you can read that, and then maybe want to go back and read the rest of the chapters, because if you're in business, we talk about this a lot. A lot of our practitioners talk about wanting to know more about business, how to build their business, what they can do. That's kind of what I talk about in this book, is how we've built our business, what we've done, what's worked, what hasn't worked, those types of things. And then there's like 25 other folks in the book that have used various tactics to build their business and to be successful in business. And that's what it's about. And so if you're in business, you're doing this as a business, buy the book. And or buy a book on business and read them, and you'll get a lot of good ideas. And that's what I love about working with Jack in the compendium type of situation. There's so many good ideas that are shared, and you can take something that I did or something that someone else did and put the 2 of them together, and that may be the secret ingredient that you need for your business. So Pillars of Success, we're launching on August the 14th. It'll be in all the bookstores, and we're looking forward to it being a #1 bestseller. And it's been a lot of fun. So there it is. That's new. That's coming out. And then my other book, Wake Up Miracles, is with, there's probably 31 doctors. Here we go. There's Wake Up Miracles. 31 different doctors are in the book. Mariel Hemingway is in the book, and it's been interesting. Had an interaction with her when I was in her grandfather's home in Florida. She wasn't there. She was talking to the publisher of the book, and I was talking to the publisher while I was out front of Ernest Hemingway's house in Florida. And we were talking and just some interaction there, so it was a lot of fun. That's where I decided to go ahead and do my Ernest Hemingway beard here that day. I thought, well, I'm just going to play with this and do that. But that book is coming out, and what it is, it's about various doctors and integrative methods that they use in their practices for the health and wellness of the body. I'm going to do an interview series with those folks on the Biohacking TV channel, available on Roku and Fire TV at this point. It's Apple TV soon. But at any rate, I'm going to do interviews with all of these docs and other participants in the book to hear what happened. And what the Wake Up Miracles is all about is people that have experienced miracle-like results as a result of various integrative methods, various forms of medicine, chiropractic, MDs, the whole 9 yards. In my case, I talked about miracles, 3 of them pretty much personal, that my wife has experienced and I've experienced and some other folks have experienced, utilizing MagnaWave, and to get what some people feel are miraculous type of results. So that's that book. It'll be coming out. You'll see it on here. I think it's at press now, but it is not yet, printing is not yet completed, but we'll be getting that soon. So keep an eye out for that one. And we're excited about that book as well. And keep an eye out for Biohacking Wellness TV on Roku, as we'll be adding the office hours on there. We'll be adding, again, various interviews we're having with people. I'm doing one next week with Dr. Curtis Turchin again on the LZR light with regard to sports therapy and how it can be used in sports therapy. So that's coming up, and that'll be broadcast certainly on all of our channels, as well as the Biohacking Wellness TV channel. So we're excited about that, and stay tuned, and we'll be doing a lot more information about that type of stuff. So if there's nothing else, I think we'll just pretty much wrap it up here today. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you. Questions were great. I feel a little discombobulated today. Probably it's because I was having some pain this morning, not concentrating the way I should be, but everything's getting better, and we're happy and pleased about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure being with you. Wave on to better health, and have a great day and great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.